What's up? What's up? Welcome to week 6 of fantasy. Talking about DFS. What am I talking? Welcome to week 6 of DFS champs. A lot on our minds this week. A lot of stuff going on, but we don't talk about that. We're talking about football this week. We got to focus on bouncing back after the long, rough patch we've been through. I'm Jared, the Hebrew Hammer. Over there is my co-host Damon Santor. We are DFS champs, and we're ready to bounce back. Damon, do you have anything to say for us?
Yeah, it's just been rough, but it's something you just got to keep firing and just keep at it, and hopefully you hit something. Fire 2 more lineups this week or fire 1 this week in the 5, but we'll just keep firing.
Can't. You don't win. You don't hit where you don't shoot.
Yeah.
You gotta keep hitting. You gotta keep hitting. And we've been close in previous weeks. I know. I'm speaking for myself. Last week was a total knockout, like in a reverse sweep fashion. Every single lineup I hit was in the last 50%. Nothing was even close. Everything was missing. It was just a bad weekend.
On FanDuel, I did something pretty remarkable. I finished 83-25 out of 83-27 or something. So I had literally like the third net low lineup. That's pretty damn remarkable.
I thought something good was coming.
I had an okay week. Oh no, nothing. My buddy had a good lineup. That was fun to sweat with him. But yeah, no, it was a rough week. But every week's different, and it really is one of those things. You just keep consistent with your contests, and hopefully, you get some excitement going.
Not hopefully. We're working towards it. We got to have that positive mentality because we're hitting it. We're going through it. We're making some money. I don't care. One way or another, we have to hit it this week. That's the bounce back. That's what happens. Hebrew Hammer feels the energy. He has to roll. So let's roll right in there. I'm going to screen share it up, and we're going to get through this. And we're going to get to the lineup going, and we're going to move because we want to win.
Yeah, what are you feeling this week? Do you want to try 2 again? Like last week?
Yeah, I mean, let's check out our lineups we're looking. Let's check what players we like. I mean, see how it rolls, and if we feel like we can make 2 lineups right now, we can do that. If not, make 1 and let it be, or we'll make another one and post it 2 as well, or we can just make 2 here now. If we see 2 things we like. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's perfect. This week the NFL landscape's starting to be the weather is something to look for though in multiple places. So it'll be interesting. The 2 main ones being Chicago and Cleveland.
You put me on to that one. I was big on that stack right now. I was into the Fields.
Oh, yeah.
DJ Moore. And one of those guys, I like the cheaper option because I feel like everyone will be on Addison taking up the Jefferson role. So, I mean, who knows who's going to take what role. But I like that. I like that stack in a way. But with the rain, I'm not too sure.
They're going to have to completely change their offense. I don't know. You can't just fill in the Jefferson role. Running receiver is different than running back. You can't just fill it in. So I think they're actually going to use their running backs more. You might see more Cam Akers this week mixed with Madison. I think that's how they're going to have to do it. Addison, they have Madison and Addison, I just realized. But, yeah, Addison he's been good, but he's still – I mean, it's just not replaceable. They're going to have to change the offense around a little bit, and some other guys are going to have to step up.
I wish I can just press the weather button and something comes up here.
That'd be cool. You can. I know. You can always follow people on Twitter. There's at DFS Weather is the name. He always has good stuff.
Yeah, it works. But is that? It looks like Cleveland could have some poor weather. It could be McCaffrey day, or even if is Mitchell going to be active?
Dude, I wouldn't even. I would just.
I wouldn't either, but I'm just saying, for prop methods and whatnot like that, there's going to be a lot of run in that game. Let's go to the quarterbacks. Let's talk this up. Damon, what do you see for us here? What are some of your top looks?
So with the weather, I think that it knocks out a couple options. With the unknown, you don't want to start there. Hurts against the Jets on the road is not something you're looking for. Tua is always an option, but he gets the yards. They've been running the ball in. I don't know about touchdowns. I'm kind of looking at Trevor Lawrence this week at home after 2 weeks. Yeah, he had the 2 big weeks, but he also isn't consistent with the big weeks. I don't like Goff on the road. Goff on the road generally hasn't been as good. That game should be lower scoring. The Lions have been a wagon, but Amon-Ra is going to be back. But
Yeah, look right here. 13 points average. I know it's only 2 games to 3, so it's a smaller sample right now, but it's still 13 versus 24.5. That's a big
It's
difference.
always been a thing. Yeah, that's always been a
Oh
thing
yeah,
for him.
oh yeah, definitely has. But it's nice to see this go right there and not just talk about it, but you get to see it too.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm leaning towards Lawrence this week. I'm leaning towards Stafford even, and
Mm-hmm.
if you want to go really cheap, you can roll Minshew. But how much will he be throwing? I mean, I'll throw a decent amount, but with both their running backs, that's kind of where I'm leaning this week is those 3 options. I think going with either the Saints or Houston, that game's going to be low scoring, and I'm kind of avoiding that. But Minshew has shown the ability to come in and put points up and does run the ball a little bit. So he does have rushing touchdown upside. What about you? What are you thinking?
Well, one of the players I did circle because Minshew wasn't he drafted by Jacksonville? Play there for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
So in
I'm not sure
some
if he's
narratives,
actually might have been drafted. Yeah.
not drafted or not, that's the team he played with when he started up, and he was Minshew
Mhm.
mania and such. So I mean that's a first look as a lineup in terms of revenge narratives when you see anything at the type, and he's the gunslinger type where he's gonna throw it regardless. Like against Baltimore, he threw 44 times. Yeah, it was just Moss, but even last week coming in, was that last week? Yeah, last week coming in and throwing the ball 14 times, even in a close game when they're running a lot. So like he still put up numbers, and he still has the opportunity to throw a couple touchdowns of possibilities. People break away. They have some good options at receiver we can stack with him. So he was an option for a revenge game. I had circled another guy, my big guy. I thought, yeah, Stafford's a huge guy for me this week. I think Arizona's been torched in the air for the last few weeks by teams, and he's a guy that's been routinely putting up 250, 300 yard games, and he's 2 touchdown potential, puts him in the 20, 25 point range, and that's all. And matching him up with Cooper Kupp, that's just a dream matchup right there. Second game back, didn't get in the end zone the first game, so that's another big one I looked at. A third, I'll give a third one too. I think Fields initially I liked, like I said about the weather, but he might be more of a runner on Sunday. Cousins as well, and not with the rain. And if Burrow's back, I'm interested to see what's up there against Seattle. I mean, Seattle isn't really too hard in the air, and they kind of give it up in a way. 280 yards in the air per game, giving up 7 per attempt. So that's pretty high numbers. And if Burrow's back in a way like he was last week, just showing out against Arizona, like, of course it's Arizona, but still he looked more like himself. That's someone I can see stacking again and with Chase or someone else. I don't know I think Higgins might be out until after the bye, so that's
I would
another lineup I
assume
see
he
there.
sits again. I would assume he sits, but
I do as well. Why not give him another week? Because it's really 2 weeks with the bye coming up, so why might as well. So
yeah, that is pretty cheap for Burrow.
Yeah, it is. It is a cheap price. What was it again? It was at like 63. Yeah, 63, and with
for Burrow,
Chase
that's actually a really good price.
83. Chase is going to be in the 9 range, like all these other guys by the end of the year. So like that's still cheap for him in a way too.
It is.
So like that's another stack I like as well. He's screwed us in the past in a few weeks, but
can't worry about that.
He's looking
though.
different now. He's
Yep.
Got to keep rolling, and he's gonna adjust. He's gonna improve, and week by week he gets better. But let's roll on to the running backs now. As we went through our quarterbacks, we have some running back options. I'll go first, and I'll hand it off to Damon next to see what he likes in terms of RBs. Bijan's a guy I like again. Last week he kind of disappointed against Houston, but I feel like Washington's a team that kind of gives it up 5 per attempt to running backs, 133 yards averaged. James Cook averaged almost 100 off them. Swift had a good game against them. Even Khalil Herbert averaged 7.6 before he got hurt. So I feel like they're a team that you can run against. And if they keep it close, if it's a close game, hopefully you'll get more receiving yards this time around. I don't think he got much last week.
No, he's actually has not as many receptions as you think. I mean, he's getting like 4 a week.
I mean, that's good for a run. I mean, look, he's been pretty good for a running back doing 4 or 5 a week. Last week seems like an outlier in terms of his game too. Seems like a good drop back option for Riddler. But Riddler was also feeling himself in a way. He got over like 300 yards or something. Ritter. So like he didn't really have the need to check down much last week. Etienne's another guy I feel like with interest, but at 71, he's a little high, especially if I feel like Jacksonville offense in terms of Lawrence and Kirk and such might have a little more to do as well. So he might take away from his value at 71, in my opinion. I love Kamara at 68 again against Houston. I feel like it was an outlier against
so
Robinson.
If Bijan, just real quick though, if Houston who shut Bijan down from catching passes, and he's one of the better pass catchers, Kamara could, in theory, struggle with pass work a little more this week.
But did I say they shut? But I don't know if they shut him down or if they didn't need him. That's each opinions. I feel like they didn't need him to check down. Ridley threw for 300 some yards. He was going lunging, got a good amount. What was he? Where was his yardage at? I feel like he went deep. Yeah, 329. He really didn't have the need to check down. I feel like, in my opinion, I don't know. But that's a good point there. They shut them down. They shoved
than any other week that I've seen. This is true.
So that's something to think about. It could be an outlier week. It could be things to come. Houston defense might be coming together, but that's a risk some people might be willing to take. Depending on how you feel about the game, I wouldn't actually being the road team. I was a little more weary on Kenneth Walker this week. Might be a little more offensive in terms of maybe receivers. Mixon's another option. I feel like I like Swift. I love this week against the Jets. Jets have been pretty crappy against the run, giving up like 150 yards per game against the run. So that's a team. 146.2, 4.5 per carry per attempt. They don't give up touchdowns. It seems like it's 0.2 per game to the running backs. But yeah, McLaughlin got 68 on 7.6 last week. Pacheco got 115 on 5.8 and a touchdown with 43 yards and 3 catches. Zeke got 80 on 5 per. And Stevenson at 59 that game. So the Jets give up yards on the run to the ground.
That's a good look. Because they're going to look to shut down the pass too. That is a good look.
So I like that. I like stacking him with the defense. I know the Eagles are pretty expensive, but against Zach Wilson, I feel like, he seems like last week he wasn't terrible. He was good. He was better than he has in the past. It seems like he maybe turned a corner in a way in terms of who he is, but he's still Zach Wilson. We can't deny that stuff. So
he was playing Denver,
and their offensive line's a little out too.
Is it? Yeah. And this is a whole other defense with the Eagles pass rush.
Yeah, but isn't Vita Tucker? Isn't he offensive line? Right?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure, but I know they've had injuries in some places and moved offensive line players around and moved players around. So that's something to consider as well. I like that stack there. Those are some of my guys. What are you seeing?
Yeah, no, I think those are actually some great points. I like Madison this week. Like I said, I think his role adds on. I'm all in Williams at his price. That's the same team that McCaffrey lit up. He's getting all the work. Yeah, Madison. Someone's gonna have to get Jefferson's looks. I think Madison will get some.
Maybe this guy.
He gets his targets because
maybe they change it up.
He gets his targets because Jefferson pushes the defense. It'll be tough for him. Schemes. He'll get keyed in on. But Kyron Williams is definitely a guy. Josh Jacobs, I'm looking at also. Jacobs is turning it around. New England's defense is just – they're a mess, and I think Vegas is going to roll through that game. Spots I like there.
Yeah, Kamara just had an average game against New England, but he's just coming back as well. So, yeah, he had a touchdown, 80 yards on the ground. I think he had 3 catches. That's good. Yes, I like that matchup too. That's a good one. Let's roll on to receivers. You ready for them? Big time?
Yes, sir.
Let's roll through it. What you got for us?
I like Chase still. Just keep rolling with Chase. Cooper Kupp is a great option. Paying up this week, I don't mind. But if you do that, you're going to have to go low elsewhere. That's where I like the cheap quarterbacks this week. I personally really do think those two are great options. Other than that, though, Ridley or Kirk for a cheaper one.
appropriately.
Pittman, if you're stacking with, if you think there's gonna be points this week, Pittman might be a good option this week. Cleveland, I'm avoiding because of the weather. Those are just some options there. What about you? What are you thinking?
You brought me on to this guy just before the show, and I think I bought in a way. I mean, even without Minshew, last week he showed. Actually, maybe that was even with Minshew. I didn't watch the game, but Baltimore week 3, both guys got 12 targets. He got 12 targets. Pippen got 11 targets. So I mean, and that's with Minshew. So Minshew has confidence with this kid. I think at 4,100, that's like you said, you got to pay up at receiver, you got to pay down somewhere else, and that's a pretty good option to go down somewhere else. I like that. I like that option. I like Drake London at 4,800 against Washington. You just saw what happened with DJ Moore last week at 230, 3 touchdowns. AJ Brown had 175 and 2 tutties. Diggs had 118 the week before. So like Washington is going to give up yards through the air. So London's their top receiver on Atlanta. I'm not sure who else is even featured there. I know it's Mac Hollins, of course. So like that's another option.
They haven't been using a third receiver, really.
No.
Their third receiver is Scotty Miller.
Yeah, exactly. So he's starting to put it together, getting his targets, getting a little more confidence going, especially last week. I could see him getting a touchdown and some yards there and getting some points at 48. It's not a bad, cheap option there. I like Kirk a lot this week as the reverse from Ridley. I think he's due to keep going what he's been doing. Indiana gives up bombs to players like the puke guy, whatever his name is, on the Rams. We call him that, 163 and a touchdown. And we saw Nuck last week for 140. I mean, that stuff is – so they're going to give it up. I think Ridley's a good option, like you said, so that's good for my fantasy team. Once again, they'll be down, so keep throwing. So I feel like Thielen's back to himself in a way. Guys getting his targets, guys getting yards. I thought he was more just 30 points last week. I thought he was more of a middling ground like Michael Thomas right now, getting his 5-6 catches, getting his 60 yards, and maybe touchdown dependent. But he's getting his 10 or so targets per game right now. That's something to look at, especially with a team down. Pittman, like you said, is an option if you don't go down, so you want to stack. And I am also on those guys with you. Chase, like we said, stacking with Burrow is huge with me, but you can use him alone because he's cheap enough, in my opinion, because he shouldn't be that low. He should be another 1,000 higher. Yeah, I feel like it's gonna score a touchdown this week. Not being in last week, Stafford's gonna keep looking for him. He looked healthy. He looked back, so he's gonna keep giving to his guy, and I think he's due for 1 or maybe 2 touchdowns even next week on Sunday.
Definitely. I think those are some good looks for sure.
Tight end, I wasn't as fond of as well. It's always tougher with these guys. It seems like there's only 3 or 4 options I like in most weeks. I feel like if you want to go cheap, Conklin's not terrible against Philly. I mean, they got to throw it to someone and check it down in some way. So I feel like he's going to get his targets and he'll get you your 12 or so points. If he scores a touchdown, even better. But for 3,300, getting 12, 14 points from the tight end is not terrible, but it's not wonderful either. Zach Ertz, I feel like saying a similar situation, going to get you your 8 or 10 targets, being down, being the check down guy, but he's not going to get enough yards. He may not get a touchdown. So it's not sexy, but they're good options for if you need the cheap option. I feel like they're going to keep giving it to Laporta. He's expensive at 56, but I mean, the only thing that worries me is the lack of targets sometimes. Like he gets 4 or 5 targets. He gets the touchdowns, he gets the yards, but it's not enough sometimes. And that's what scares me because they're very run dependent. They run a lot. So that's something that worries me. Logan Thomas, another guy I was a little interested in. Starting to get a little more involved. I mean, last week he got 11 targets here and there. So depends on what the receivers are looking like or going. But I feel like Atlanta does. What are the numbers versus receivers? They do okay against receivers. They're pretty average. So he might be an option, but it's tough. What do you see this week? Maybe you can help me out and find a good tight end.
So Logan Thomas has been pretty good. And he's been targeted. He's been maybe Howell's favorite target. His price is not bad. Obviously, Bieniemy tight end with Kelsey being the offensive coordinator there. The only thing is he takes some shots, but once again, you can't worry about injuries. Logan Thomas is a great option to me. You've got Otten if you think the Lions have a good game script. You also can roll with Goddard. Have been terrible with tight ends, and Goddard was getting involved, but I don't know if you want to use him after last week in his peak. And then Evan Ingram will get his looks. I think Evan Ingram is not a terrible option this.
No, he's very consistent. It seems at 8 targets a game, getting his 50 or so yards. Just needs a touchdown.
He
just needs that touchdown to be a little more that's needed. He's very dependent at 45. He needs that touchdown to get to that 20 range.
He can have 6 for 130. He's that type of tight end.
How often does he do that? I mean, I gotta see it. He's not. I mean, he could, but when's it happening? Like, that's why I see. I mean, that's why I'm looking at the other guys. That's a good option. I like Ingram a lot this week. Don't get me wrong. I like him a lot. I think he has an opportunity to score a touchdown in this game, which is why I like him. Which is the only reason why I like him. But I do like him this week. I think he gets his 8 targets a game, which is sexy. I just feel like he needs to get, either 100 yards, like you said, or a touchdown. Get one of those boosts. Let's see. Any defenses you find of this week? Anything you'd look in here? Because it's been very tough.
I think there's
other than Eagles,
Buffalo.
Where are the Bills at? Are they expensive? They're cheap, aren't they?
I don't know why they would be cheap.
They're not. Why would Buffalo be there? That's Sunday Night Football.
They straight took them all. Oh, it's Sunday Night Football. Yeah, the slate. My bad. Yeah, I'm sorry. The Giants are prime time every fucking week.
Right? Why?
Yeah,
like we never. Why do you think we're so? Let's not talk about the Giants anymore. They're bad. They've always been bad on prime time. It's known, right? It's known. But I like the Eagles a lot. This actually, when especially stacking them with Swift against our boy Zach Wilson. Why not?
Go down. I think Houston or New Orleans potentially. Maybe Houston's defense. I don't know if their pass rush gets there. You can look at. There's some clear shootouts you want to avoid. Maybe Chicago's defense might. I don't know. Chicago's defense. If the weather's bad, at their price.
That's rain game. Yeah.
Cousin is gonna throw the ball. There's a lot of defensive touchdown potential there.
Yeah, I can do it. It's not a bad idea. Go to those weather games and find something there. All right, let's do it. You ready to make a lineup?
Yep.
All right, let's take a breath. Let's take a drink. Let's breathe it in. Let's be mindful, and then let's run through this. Let's find it out. All right. Who do you want to start off with? Do you want to go with quarterbacks? Do you want to go with receivers, with running backs? Do you want to go?
Start with the quarterback.
All right.
If you want to do Burrow, Chase.
Yeah, I can do that.
I feel like this is the cheapest you're going to get Burrow.
And Chase. Well, at this point, I mean, it's only going to be go up from here.
Shootout potential.
Oh, yeah.
Someone we didn't talk about that's cheaper this week that explodes is Lockett.
I was going to say, take someone from this team, from these guys, too. What's he priced at, like 63 or 64? Or has he gone up by now?
No, Lockett's cheaper.
Oh, my God. 57. He went back down? Was he always cheap? Yeah, oh, man, he went back down.
Yeah, so Lockett's a good play to stack with there.
I didn't even see him.
We just have to keep an eye on the weather. That's all.
Yeah. That's a weather-dependent one as well, but I would say, but sometimes it just says that. Let's go to running back next. Let's find a player there. We'll be at 49. So I mean, we're still pretty good money wise because we have tight ends and defense to run with. So what are you looking? What are we looking at here? Let's see. Who we like? I know you like Williams a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's Arizona. We don't have Cup, so that's an option there. And I like Swift a lot.
Yeah, Swift is good. We can put Swift in.
We can do both if you want. We can go.
Swift Williams is good.
Yeah.
Or if you
I like
like
that
Madison. But that game, oh, never mind. That game's gonna have weather. Just avoid that one.
Well, but also you might be the check down guy.
Yeah, just avoid that one.
I don't like that
We'll
stuff
go
either.
if we're using Bears D
it's not
potentially too.
there's no ceiling there in those types.
No,
It's
not
more
really.
floor
No,
types. You're gonna get your points, but you're not gonna get crazy.
Exactly.
I like this so far. This looks nice. I like that. Not too expensive with most of the players in the middle range.
Mm-hmm.
Once we get their defense in there, we'll probably be in the 5 range for the last.
Do you want to
3.
use Chicago? They're cheap.
Sure, we can do that one. All right, now we have 49, 48, 48.66. Not bad. So let's see what we got here. You want to go tight end next, or you want to go receiver?
How much did you like Downs? Do you like Pittman, Downs, any Kirk?
I like Kirk and Downs, honestly. I like both those guys, but I wonder what we could put in the lineup if we put Downs in there. I think that's a pretty good guy who gets going to get 10 or so targets against Jacksonville.
Especially if they're down, yeah.
Giving up 260 yards per game in the air, touchdown and a half. Just gave up over 100 to Diggs and Davis last week. So there's potential for that price, definitely. So we can go for tight end.
Can we use Ridley?
Oh, shit. He's 60 something. Then we're at 38, actually. So
What tight ends are at 38?
There's Ertz and there's Thomas. Conklin, the 3 guys I named. There's Schultz.
I like Logan Thomas, but it's up to you. Look at Logan Thomas's numbers.
Yeah, he had like a lot of targets last week, but 3 the previous 2. So I think it's like very consistent. Yeah, so it's like hard to tell with them. Like you don't know. And I think the same thing goes with Ertz.
Well, he's done less with his targets, so that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
They also don't have Connor this week.
That's true.
Ertz could be actually a good option.
He's a late slate guy. That's not bad. 200 to go. Nice.
Yeah, that looks good.
I like that lineup so far.
We'll just roll with one this week.
Are these all after? You can do one if you wanted to roll another. It's up to you. I don't care.
I gotta help the daughter and kid.
I got you there. I think we'll post. I don't know if you're cool with it. I'll make a lineup or you'll make a lineup. We'll talk about one and we'll send it to each other if we want to. If we feel like we make another one, we will and we'll post it. If not, this might be our only one. We'll throw in the 5.
Sounds good, brother. We got it.
Works. That works.
We're gonna have 1 week.
Well, this might be it right here. I don't know. Burrow, Chase. I feel like we got a lot of weapons in here for price and everything. I feel like we got a lot of nice weapons.
Good game.
And once again, if we make any changes, we will absolutely. Let me just save this. If we make any changes, we'll absolutely send it out to Twitter and share it out and tell everyone all about it, so everyone's aware about everything. So it's important. We want to make sure we don't want to change things up without people's knowledge, and people put lineups out there and be like, "What the hell is this about? You have this different shit." So no, we'll let you. We'll update on everything. It'll be there on Twitter at the Hebrew Hammer 180, Damon Santor. That's it, right?
Numbers. Probably.
I don't fucking
know.
The
one and only.
The one and only Damon Santor.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and have a wonderful day.
Evening. Take it easy, everyone. Stay safe and win some money.
Career.